Okay, here is y equals tan x. This is a hard one, so this actually doesn't normally come up. And if so, they would draw it for you. Okay, you are expected to know how to draw it, but because it's difficult, they don't normally ask. So focus on the sine and cosine graphs, but I'll explain how to do the tan one here. So the dotted lines are asymptotes. It means the curve is not allowed to touch at those points. So if you were to type in tan 90 into your calculator, it would come up as an error, and tan 270 would come up as an error. There is no amplitude in tan, or what I really should say is it cannot be measured. So no matter what the number at the front is, it will not change the graph. So if it said y equals 3 tan x, it would look exactly the same as this. Y equals 4 tan x, 5 tan x, 6 tan x, it wouldn't change it at all. It would look exactly the same as this. There's no numbers up the side, it goes on infinitely, so you cannot measure it. The only thing that can change is the number in front of the x. If it said tan 2x, the best thing to do is half all the numbers you see. So instead of having an asymptote at 90, you would have an asymptote at 45 degrees. Instead of it cutting at 180 degrees, it would cut at 90 degrees, and so on. Okay, so if it was tan 2x, just divide all those numbers you see by 2. If it was tan 3x, you would divide all the numbers by 3. So I'll show you what that looks like. Okay, so this is me drawing tan y equals tan 3x. So instead of an asymptote at 90, I've just divided 90 by 3 to get 30 degrees, and so on. So it's the same as last time with the sine and cosine curves. You'd be able to fit, if it was tan 3x, you'd be able to fit 3 of those, what you can see in, that would finish at 360 degrees. So you'd be able to draw all of this 3 times in total, and then you would finish at 360 degrees, if that makes sense. So you're not normally asked to draw. What you could be asked is they could give you a function, so they could say y equals tan 3x, and then ask you for the period of the graph. Now, a tan is different from sine and cos. Sine and cos, if it was sine x or cos x, the period would be 360 degrees, but in tan it's 180 degrees. So the period of this graph, you would have to divide the 180 by the 3. Okay, so you would say the period of this graph is 60 degrees. 180 divided by the 3 because of the 3x, and you get your 60 degrees. Okay, I've just put some examples down and written down the period of them all. So tan x, the period is 180. Tan 2x, the period would be 90. You would just do 180 divided by 2. For tan 3x, divide by 3, so you'd get 60 degrees. And for tan 10x, you would just divide 180 by 10 and get 18 degrees. If you're ever asked the amplitude, you would just say it cannot be measured. So they can put a number in front of the tan x, but it won't change anything. So don't worry if they write y equals 5 tan x, you would still just say the period is 180 degrees and the amplitude cannot be measured. So that's why I haven't bothered to put any numbers on the front, because it won't change the answer at all. So you just need to know how to calculate the period if you ever come across a tan graph or a tan equation function.